Matt Hancock quit his job as Secretary of State for Health tonight after it became clear that public anger about his rule-breaking affair with Gina Coladangelo, seen here in the red dress, was not abating.
I've been to see the Prime Minister to resign as Secretary of State for Health and Social Care. I understand the enormous sacrifices that everybody in this country has made, that you have made, and those of us who make these rules have got to stick by them, and that's why I've got to resign.
Mr Hancock's affair with his colleague, exposed by the Sun newspaper yesterday, broke the social distancing rules he was responsible for. And although the Prime Minister said he regarded the matter as closed, Tory MPs had been amongst those calling for Mr Hancock to go.
I think his position had become untenable, and it's okay for him to have the confidence of number 10, but ultimately the Health Secretary, any Secretary of State, but particularly the Health Secretary during a pandemic, he must have the confidence of the public. And what became very clear over the last 24 hours is that he'd lost that confidence.
This evening, Gina Coladangelo, who had often been seen at Mr Hancock's side, also quit her role at the Department for Health. The opposition say it shouldn't have taken as long as it did for Mr Hancock to go.
Boris Johnson should have shown the guts, the spine, the awareness to have sacked him yesterday. And I think the fact that Boris Johnson failed to do that speaks volumes about Johnson's failure of leadership and his lack of judgment.
Mr Hancock already stood accused of mishandling some aspects of the pandemic response, but this time he had broken the regulations which carried his name.
Hands, face, space. Hands, face, space. Hands, face, space.
Jo Goodman lost her dad to COVID. Only 10 people were allowed at the funeral.
I think it's only right that the Health Secretary has resigned. I think for those of us who've made sacrifices in the most difficult circumstances, knowing that our leaders haven't lived up to the same standards that we have had to abide by in the hardest times of our lives is really, really difficult.
And so Sajid Javid returns to the top table 16 months after his resignation from the Treasury. And he returns to one of the most challenging jobs in government. Carl Dinnan, ITV News.